Michael McKibben, Tyla, and Douglas Gabriel here, the Voices of America. We have a big show today. It's a very important show, and we hope that once you hear this important message that you will send it downline and get it out to as many folks as possible. Michael, you say that the Republic is in clear and present danger.
Yes. What we have discovered in this evidence from the IRS reports is that the former Fed chairman, Paul Volcker, and Henry Kissinger were officers of the Pilgrim Society in 2007, 2008, during the bank bailout, quote, crisis. Volcker was announced by Obama the day after Obama was elected. His first meetings were with Volcker to advise him on the economic policy. So what that shows us is that the White House was hijacked by the top economic advisor, Paul Volcker, and the top foreign policy advisor, Henry Kissinger. Everything that we see occurring now is the fruit of that poisonous tree. That proves that the Republic itself is in clear and present danger. And that requires martial law, because martial law is intended when the normal functions of government aren't working. And that is clearly proven here by the sedition of these two men and all of their accomplices, including everyone who was a participant in the Clinton Global Initiative. Now we know it was about 500 companies and individuals. It is quite evident that the Pilgrim Society was expanding their reach to include NGOs and foundations started by the founders of eBay, Facebook, Google, Bill and Melinda Gates, and a whole host of current foundations that are putting in hundreds of millions, probably billions, into Black Lives Matter demonstrations and firebombings that are occurring all over the country. So this proves that foreign agents have been running our country for way too long, and it's time for a president who believes in the Republic to step in and declare martial law in order to give us time to fix this.
Unfortunately, probably the crux of the whole matter is that the Department of Justice isn't doing their job. If they did, they could look out and see the 501c3s that are hiding under tax-exempt status are actually driving the political machinery of partisanism to the point of literally beyond socialism into fascism, to the point that they have to use doublespeak. Antifa, anti-fascism, hello, they're the fascists. Paul Volcker and Henry Kissinger, both Pilgrim Society members and a 501c3.
Not just members, they were vice presidents of the Pilgrim Society, which means we had a British takeover of the Obama White House.
Remember, Henry Kissinger has been a turncoat from the time he turned on his own people in Germany, and then he came to America, and then he went to war in Germany, and then he joined the OSS and turned against the German people again, and then he went to the Brits, and then he came to America acting as if he's an American when he's actually now a Chinese agent. That's where his money's tied up. That's where all of his efforts go. You have so much indictable evidence on the people in Washington, D.C., on Americans for Innovation, all your friends who work on that all you'd have to do is go there, collect the evidence, and you'd be able to put all these people down. The State Department was sold out and was nothing more than an extension of the Clinton Global Initiative. Jonathan Weiner told us that. When he got fired, he actually left. He jumped ship. He told us all that was going on and who was controlling it, APCO worldwide. He actually stated, no one knows how much money Hillary Clinton collected for her foundations while she was Secretary of State.
It's obvious now that Bill and Hillary Clinton were just following the Pilgrim Society orders. So there was no original thinking going on. They were doing exactly what they were told to do. The purpose of the Clinton Global Initiative was to allow the Pilgrim Society to gather all of their minions from around the planet and specifically to empower NGOs and foundations to be the new mechanism by which USAID and OPIC and all these fundings controlled by the Secretary of State could pass money out of the country through foreign bank accounts into projects that were hundreds of millions of dollars and where nothing was done except the money disappeared. These foundations enriched themselves, and they were all nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofits. That is criminal activity. That's why we think that the only way to fix this is to call a stop on the functions of government, because they're not functioning. They're not stopping these people. These people are not new. They've been around a long time. And yet we've got an IRS that is actually aiding and abetting them, because in each case, when you actually go look at the IRS documents, some IRS agent, and actually there's one guy, approved these 501c3 operations, including the Pilgrim Society. This has got to stop. And the only way that can stop at this level, since the government, like you said, the Department of Justice is not doing their job, the Department of Commerce is not. The Department of Commerce has given all of our patents over to the British Serco Company. And we just go right down the line. The FCC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, they're all broken because they've allowed these people to do whatever they wanted to get to this point. And therefore, we don't have any regulatory mechanisms that can stop this. That's why the president needs to move now and declare martial law and get this information out on the table so it can be fixed. Because I think they've run roughshod over our institutions so long that our institutions can't respond to this.
Douglas, can you speak to the legislation that you found?
Well, we called it the pandemic laws because just like everything else, it's absolute criminality and you can't miss it. So what we said was there have to be really, really nasty laws that allow this to happen. So we looked it up, and there are 4 laws that started this. The first health law for emergencies says the president's in charge. The president.
Well, that's what most people on Main Street believe.
Yeah. Well, the second law then said, nope, sorry. Now it's in the hands of the Director of Health and Human Services. And after it went to the Department of Health and Human Services, then it went to an assistant to the Director of Health and Human Services. So then the head of preparedness, by the second or third law, the Assistant Secretary of the Health and Human Services Department for Preparedness and Countermeasures, is in charge of everyone in America. And the president by that time was taken out of the equation. So the lawmakers in Congress and Senate passed it with a voice vote unanimously because no one read it. So by the second iteration, the president was only informed. By the third iteration, the president doesn't even have to be informed. They just inform Congress. And by the fourth iteration, it was the person in charge of preparedness has to now talk to the CDC, and then later another amendment, the NIH, and then another amendment, this international group that is part of the World Health Organization. So in other words, the president was taken out of the equation, and as you say, we are under assault. The president's authority to guard the Constitution has been flushed down the toilet because the medical hegemony, which has now been placed in the control of a single individual, and she doesn't call the pandemic. The pandemic is called by the World Health Organization and their rules that define a pandemic. National Institute of Health and the Center for Disease Control chimes in. And then the Preparedness and Countermeasure Assistant Secretary for Health and Human Services makes the call. The rules for when the pandemic are over are so nebulous again that they could stay in place for the rest of our lives. And it's all legal. We must repeal those laws.
This must be rescinded immediately, because I'll tell you what, here's some names from your research that show who was involved in all this. There are a lot. And every congressperson, senator, representative that voted blindly for these laws also needs to be held to scrutiny. But some that need to be outright tried for treason is Richard Burr, Hillary Clinton, Dana Rohrabacher, Elizabeth Warren, Barbara Mikulski, Tom Harkin, Mike Rogers, Lamar Alexander, and your favorite, Michael, Mike DeWine, and Ed Kennedy. These senators have been around for a while. They full well knew what they were doing. They were giving America away to Crown agents, and every one of them needs to be tried for treason.
These people aren't going to fix themselves. This is like trying to get an alcoholic to stop drinking. They're not going to stop. That's why there's got to be an intervention. And we have a law for that. It's called martial law. And we are at that stage now. I do not think these people will choose to do the right thing. They don't know how to do the right thing, and they're not going to do the right thing. And for us to expect that the laws in our courts and our judges and our congressmen are going to fix this problem, it ain't going to happen.
This is the treasonous coup d'etat, both soft coup, hard coup, political coup, economic coup, and now it's a pharmaceutical coup. It was an impeachment coup. Obama and Biden were there. They knew all about it. So you have the White House, president and the vice president and all his people. Clapper and his National Security Council and the people below him, yes. FBI, Comey, and then later McCabe and Rosenstein, Sally Yates with the DOJ, Loretta Lynch with the DOJ, John Kerry with the Secretary of State. It would include Admiral Rogers with the NSA, the CIA with John Brennan, all of the agencies that were part of the 3 examinations of whether Trump was colluding with Russia. They were trying to make up the evidence. That's who has to be arrested and brought before a military tribunal.
We're recording this today, September 11th, 2020, 19 years after the World Trade Center destruction. And we all know that it was a demolition, and we've been working on solving that for all these years, just to find out that the same people that were running that operation are involved in this operation for global genocide that's run through the World Health Organization. Douglas put together an article that showed how the United States ceded its authority and its sovereignty over to a global entity. And I'm incensed to find the list of senators and representatives who voted this. What I want to see, and I'm saying it as a mother of 7 children, I want these people hauled out of their offices, be shown their crimes in front of the whole world in a Nuremberg-style trial, and I want to see them hanged. And the reason I say that is if we do not take care of the mess and the evil that has been created in this world now, our children are going to live through all of this and be trafficked for the rest of their lives.